Hello everyone, my name is Manohar. I'm a data science trainer and consultant. Today I'm going to explain about the data visualization by using Python. Let me tell you agenda for the session. Firstly, I will explain the importance of the visualization. After that, I will explain types of plots available. After that, I will explain the difference between different visualization libraries. After that, I will explain basic plotting operations. Now let me move forward and let me explain about the importance of the data visualization. Suppose consider the population survey. By gathering the data, if I submit the data, by submitting if I ask a question after 4 minutes or 5 minutes, like what did you understand from the data? Then that time your facial expression is like this. Because of no one can't analyze hundreds and thousands of rows within a less time. So whenever I submit the data, by converting the data into the graphical format, if I submit the data, if I ask you question after 4 minutes or 5 minutes like what did you understand from the data, then you can say the answer like in this year the population is like this, in this year the population is like this. You can tell the answer because of human mind can able to understand information from the visualization rather than any kind of spreadsheets. I hope you understand about the importance of the data visualization. Now let me move forward and let me explain the types of plots available. The plots are the bar plot, histogram, pie chart, area plot, scatter plot. These plots will be provided by the matplotlib library. There are three kinds of libraries: the matplotlib library, Seaborn, and Bouquet. Matplotlib library is the first inventor library in a Python. This provides you a basic visualization like bar chart, histogram, pie chart like that. And the Seaborn is the extension to the Matplotlib library. This Seaborn uses the statistical methods. By using the statistical methods, it can represent the data into the graphical format. And whenever you don't get any kind of information from your visualization plot, then that time we need to use this bouquet library, right? These are the three top libraries available in a Python. Not only this, there are a number of libraries are available, but mostly we use these three libraries in our companies, right? Whenever you don't get any kind of information from your plot, then only we go through the bouquet. Otherwise we use the matplotlib library and c1 library for the visualization part, right? Now let me move forward and let me explain about the plot. If you want to draw any kind of line plot, you need to install this matplotlib library into our system. After installing this matplotlib library into our system, then you need to import this library into your current working directory. After importing the library, you need to utilize the functions which are available in the matplotlib based on your requirement. Let me tell you how to install, how to import, and how to utilize this library in the Jupyter notebook itself. Let me open the Jupyter notebook. Here, if you want to install this matplotlib library into our system, then that time just open your command prompt, and in the command prompt use this code, type this code pip install matplotlib and click on enter. Automatically the library will be installed into our system. If you don't want to install this matplotlib library by using this pip install, then use this conda install to install this matplotlib library. Type this conda install matplotlib into your command prompt and click on enter. Automatically the library will be installed into your system. After installing this matplotlib library into our system, then you need to import that library into our current working directory to utilize the functions from the matplotlib library, right? So to import this matplotlib library into my current working directory, I'm using this import keyword. By using this import keyword, I'm going to import this matplotlib library into my current working directory. Just by importing this matplotlib library, there is no use for us because there are number of modules are there, under this matplotlib library, we need to install the module which is required for you based on your requirement. Here I'm importing this pyplot module from this matplotlib library by using this import statement. Right. Every time I don't want to type matplotlib.pyplot, matplotlib.pyplot like that. So that is the reason I'm going to take the alias name for that. I'm going to take the alias name as the PLT. Whatever the name you want to take as the alias name, that is your wish. But remember guys, if you take the alias name, then you need to use that alias name to utilize any kind of functions from this module. If you use this matplotlib.pyplot to utilize the functions from the library, then that time you will get the error like matplotlib.pyplot is not defined. Whenever you take the alias name, you need to use that alias name itself. Whenever you don't take any kind of alias name, then that time you can use this name matplotlib.pyplot, right? But if you take the alias name, definitely you have to use that alias name. This is the one way to import the library into our current working directory. And if you don't want to follow this way, then follow one more way, that is from matplotlib import pyplot, and I'm taking the alias name for that. Either the way you can follow, either by using the import keyword or else by using the from and import. You can import this pyplot module into our current working directory. And if you want to take the alias name, take the alias name. If you don't want to take the alias name, just leave it. Okay. Now let me execute these two things. Yes. If you find the star in this square brackets, that means that is still executing. Whenever you find the number within these square brackets, then that time you need to understand that is successfully executed. Right. Now, if you want to draw any kind of line plot, then that time you need to use the plot function taken from the matplotlib.pyplot module. Right. Through the plot function, you need to pass your data. Here I am passing the variable names as x and y. Here I have taken the data. Here I created a list by using the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I store that list into the variable name x. In the same way, I have created one more list with the elements 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I store this list into the variable name y. I am passing these two variable names x and y through the plot function, and I am using some more parameters which are available in the plot function. I am specifying the line width as a 5. How much line width you want, based on that you need to specify the line width. And I'm specifying the line style as well. I don't want a straight line, I want a line with the dots and the hyphens. Just I specified my line style which is required to me. After that I specified one more parameter, that is color. Here the color is a red color I mentioned. Whatever the color you want, you need to mention that color. Right. Now let me execute it and let us see the results how we will get. Yes. I got the results by the line which is hyphen and a dot. Right. This is the line style. But I successfully plotted this plot, but I don't know why I plotted this plot. What what can I what kind of information I need to understand from this plot? I don't know. What you have taken on the x-axis, what you have taken on the y-axis, why you plotted this plot, I don't know. I'm not able to get the information from this plot. If you want to get the information for this plot, first you need to give the title name. Why you plotted this plot, you need to represent. So that is the reason you need to give the name for your title of the plot. Right. Now let me go and let me give the title name for that. Here I have taken the data, which data we have taken previously. Same data I have taken and same parameters I am passing through this plot function. But additionally, I am taking the title function taken from the matplotlib.pyplot. Through the title function, I am passing the name and the pad parameter and font-edit parameter and luck parameter as well. Here, whatever the name you want to give to your plot as a title name, pass that name through the title function. Here I'm specifying the name as a correlation. I'm specifying the pad parameter as a 10. This pad parameter will give you the difference between the axis to your title name. And if you want to increase the font size, or if you want to give any kind of color, then that time you need to use the font dict parameters. Within a dictionary format, you need to specify the font size and you need to specify the color. Everything should be in the form of dictionary, right? And after that, I specified the location as a center. Whenever you use this location parameter, then that time the title will be located into the center. If you want to place your title in the left side or the right side, then use this lock parameter and specify the position where you want to give the title. Then that time the title name will be successfully given into your required format. How you specified the parameters in the title function, based on that the title will come. Let me execute this one and let us see the results. Yes, here I got the name for the title as a correlation, right? Here this pad parameter will give you the difference between this text to this axis. Let me increase the distance so that you will get a more understanding what is pad and all. See, the difference is increased from this axis to this text. That difference is indicated with the parameter pad, right? Here I have given the title name successfully for my plot, but I don't know what I have taken on the x-axis, what I have taken on the y-axis, for what this correlation is represented. To find which one this correlation is represented, we need to give that information as well. Then that time you need to give the name to the x-axis and you need to give the name to the y-axis as well. Then the people can understand, just by looking into the graph they can understand the information. Yes, this guy is represented this plot for the correlation and he has taken this thing on x-axis and this thing on y-axis. They can understand, right? So let us give the name to the x-axis and y-axis as well. Here I have taken the data, whatever the data I have taken previously, same data I am taking, and additionally I am taking the x label parameter, sorry, x label function and y label function. This x label function will give you the name for the x-axis, and whatever the name you want, you can pass that name through this x label function. Then automatically the name will give to the x-axis, right? And in the same way for the y label as well, whatever the name you want to give to the y-axis, you need to use this y label function and specify whatever the name you want to give to the y-axis, right? Here in the x label, I'm using this font dict parameter and the label pad parameter as well. This label pad parameter will give you the difference between your text to the axis, right? In the title I already shown you about the pad parameter, how the pad parameter will works. In the same way this label pad parameter will work in the x label function, right? Whatever the parameters are available for the x label function, same parameters are available for the y label as well. Now let me execute this one and let us see what kind of results we will get. Yes, I have given the name to the y-axis and the x-axis as well. Here in the label pad, in the x label, I have taken the label pad as 100. So that is the reason it has taken long length to this text to this axis, right? Whatever the parameters you are going to apply, same parameters you can apply to the y label as well. That is your wish. If you want to apply the parameter to the y label as well, that is your wish, right? Now let me show you all the things along with the title function, along with the x label function, along with the y label function as well. Here I have taken the same data and I'm passing that data through the plot function. I'm passing the x label function, I'm specifying the y label function, I'm specifying the title function. Whatever the parameter I explained previously, those parameters only I used in the x label function and y label function and the title function, right? Now let me execute this one. See, the plot is successfully represented with a title and name to the x-axis and name to the y-axis as well. Right. Now I can able to understand this guy is represented this correlation plot to represent to find the correlation between the height and weight. If the weight is increases, how the height is deviating, whether increasing or decreasing. Just to confirm that this guy is represented this plot. I can understand the information from these plots. Right. Here, if you want to change the position for your title, then use this log parameter. In the log parameter, you can specify the data as a left. Now let me execute this one. See, the title location is in the left. Whatever the location you, sorry guys, whatever the location you specify in the log parameter, based on that the title located in that location. If you don't use this parameter, by default the location is the center. In the center the location will be plotted. Right. Now here, if you observe, the range is in between a 1 to 5 on x-axis, and on y-axis the range is 6 to 10. Right. Whatever the data you have specified, based on that it will consider the maximum value and minimum value. Based on that it will specify the range for your plot. But if I want to specify different range which is desired to me, then that time you need to use the xlim functions and ylim function. Right. See, I'm passing the same data which we discussed previously, same data through the plot function and x label, y label function and the title also I'm giving to that, but additionally I'm giving the xlim function and ylim function. Right. Inside the xlim function I'm specifying the range within a parenthesis. If you don't specify the range within a parenthesis, then that time it will understand the value of 1 is a separate parameter and the value of 5 is a separate parameter. So then that time you will get error. To avoid that kind of things, you need to specify the range within a parenthesis itself. Right. Whatever the range you specified, based on that only the plot will be represented. Let me execute this one and you will get more clarity in this. Yes. Here on the x-axis the range is 1 to 5 and on the y-axis the range is 1 to 10. Right. Let me change the range to 1 to 8. Now let me execute this one. Now you can observe the range 1 to 8 and from 1 to 10. Right. Whatever the range you have specified, based on that range it will take the values on the x-axis and the y-axis as well. But you may get a doubt here. In previous plot the range is 1 to 5, but it taken the intervals as 0.5. Between the difference between this element to this element is 0.5 and this one to this one the difference is 0.5. How it is taken the intervals automatically? You may get doubt, right? But here when I specify the range the interval is a 1. How it is taking the interval automatically? Right. Let me clear that doubt to you. Here, to take the intervals on the x-axis or the y-axis, the procedure is first you need to consider your upper bound. After that you need to consider the lower bound as well. Right. The upper bound value is 8 and the lower bound value as 1. You need to subtract this lower bound from your upper bound, then you will get a value 7. You need to divide that value with a 5. 5 is the standard value to divide the results. After dividing you will get some kind of value. After that you need to round up that value to a certain value. Whatever the results you will get, that is your interval. With that difference it will take the intervals and it will give the values. Right. I am passing this 7 by 5 through the np.floor function. This will round up a value. Now let me execute this one. See, it is round upping the value to the 1. Here I am getting the value as a 1. With a 1 difference, it will take the intervals. The lower range is the lower bound is a 1, 1 plus 1 is a 2, 2 plus 1 is a 3, 3 plus 1 is a 4. In this way, it will take the intervals, whatever the range you specified. Automatically, it will divide the results with 5 by subtracting the lower bound with the upper bound. Right. I hope you understand how it is taking the intervals and all. Now, if you want to represent this plot without the values on the x-axis and the y-axis, then that time what will you do? You need to use two more functions. They are the ticks, x ticks and y ticks. Whatever the data I have taken previously, same data I am taking and I am passing that data to the plot function, and x label I am taken and y label also I have taken and title also I have taken. Additionally, I am taking the x ticks function and y ticks function. Right. Within this x ticks function and y ticks function, you need to specify a square bracket. Within a square brackets, don't specify any kind of elements. Then automatically the plot will be represented without any kind of values on x axis and y axis. Right. Let me execute this one so that you will get more clarity. Yes. See, on the x-axis and the y-axis, no value is presented because of this x ticks functions. Right. If you want to represent any kind of plot without the values on the x-axis and the y-axis, then that time you need to use this x ticks function and y ticks function. But if you specify any kind of value within these square brackets, like 1, 3, 5, and I'm going to specify the values on vertex as well, 2, 5, 8. Now let me execute this one. See, whatever the values you specified within this x ticks and y ticks, the plot is represented with those values itself. Right. Here on the x-axis I have taken the values as 1, 3, 5, and the y-axis I have taken the values as 2, 5, 8. Whatever the values you have taken within this x ticks, with that values the plot will be represented. Right. Now here one more thing, that if you want to compare any kind of values, then that time you need to represent 2 or 3 lines within a one plot itself. Let me tell you the scenario. I'm going to predict the price of the car. Right. Actually, the price of the car is like the Toyota car price is $5K and the Maruti car price is the $2K and Bolero car price is the $6K. After training my model, after predicting the values, the Toyota car price becomes $6K and the Maruti car price is the $3K and Bolero car price is the $5K. There is a difference between the actual values to the predicted values. Actually, the Toyota car price is the $5K, but when I predict that, it given the value as a $6K. The difference between this actual value and present predicted value is a $1K, and between this Maruti, $1K is there, and between the Bolero, $1K is there. Now I want to compare this actual values and predicted values. Then that time you need to use number of plot functions. You need to pass different kind of data through the each and every plot function. Right. See here how I'm passing the data x and y through the first plot function. Again I have taken a different data. I'm passing that data through the plot function. This is the second plot function and this is the first plot function. I have taken two plot functions here but with a different data. X label and y label and the title, these three functions are common, right? And the x lim and y lim, if you want to specify then specify, if you don't want to specify then leave about these functions. Right. Now let me execute this one and let us see what kind of results we will get. See here two lines are represented within a one plot. I have given the title name as this is the comparison between the actual values and predicted values. But I'm not getting the information that what this line represent and what this line represent. If you want to represent what this line represents and what this line represent, then you need to use the legend function, right? Here I'm using the legend function. I'm taking the legend function. Inside the legend function, I'm passing the parameter as the loc. That means location. Okay, the location as lower right. Now let me execute this one. See, this blue color line representing the actual values and this orange color line representing the predicted values. From where it has taken the name as actual values and predicted values, you need to specify one more parameter within your plot functions. In the first plot function, I'm specifying the parameter as a label. I'm assigning the name as actual values to that label parameter, and I'm going to take one more function, that is a plot function. Within this plot function, I'm going to use the label parameter. I'm assigning the label as predicted values. Whatever the name you are specified to this parameter, with that name the legend will be represented, right? Here this blue color line representing the actual values and orange color line representing the predicted values. Automatically it will take the location. If you specify a specific location within a legend function, then automatically this legend will be located at that location, right? Let me change the location as upper right. See, the legend is represented in the upper right. How whatever the location you want to specify about this legend, then you need to specify that location. If you don't specify this location parameter to the legend function, automatically the system will define which is the best location to represent that legend. Right. Now, if you want to save the figure, then that time you need to use this figure function, and inside that you need to specify the figure size, and you need to store this entire thing into the variable name fig, and in the last whatever the variable name you have taken for this figure function, use that variable name only, and after that use the savefig function, and inside the savefig function you need to specify the path where you want to store this figure, and along with that you need to specify the figure name and the extension as well. The extension like JPG and JPEG and PNG formats you need to specify, right? And one more thing, that you need to specify the logic between these two lines, between this figure function and between this savefig function. You need to specify your logic, otherwise nothing will be saved into our required directory, right? Let me execute this one. Yes, see, the plot size is increased. Whatever the size you specified, based on that the size of the plot will be represented, right? In this way you can save the figure and you can submit that figure to your client, right? Now let me show you some more plots. Here I'm inputting the numpy. I'm specifying the range as 0.0 and 2.0, and I'm specifying the step as a 0.01. Within a range function taken from the numpy, I'm storing the entire thing into the variable name t. I'm passing this variable name t through the sine function to multiply this variable name t with a 2 pi. I'm adding 1 with that, and I'm storing the entire thing into the variable name s. Now I am going to pass variable name t and variable name s through the plot function, and x label and y label and the title, these are common. Now let me execute it and let us see what kind of plot we will get. Yes, see, by using the sine function we are getting the sine curve, right? In this way also you can represent the plots. Now come to the step function. By using the step function, you can represent the plot by using the steps, right? Here I'm specifying the range as a 0 to 14. By default, it will understand the step value as a 1, and I'm storing that into the variable name x. I'm dividing each and every value with a 2. I'm specifying the entire thing into the sine function. I'm storing this sine function into the variable name y. I'm passing this variable name x and y to the step function and plot function as well. Here, this in the plot function, I'm specifying the color as a green, right? Just it is a reference and this step function, and in the step function, you need to specify the parameter as a where and the label. When you specify the parameter as a pre, then automatically the steps will be connected in the front. Let me execute it and let me show you. See how the plot is look like. When you say where parameter as a pre, then that time the steps will be connected in the frame. Like this, the steps will be connected, right? When you say, when you use the parameter where as a mid, then that time the line will be touches in the middle, like this. And when you specify the parameter where as post, then that time it will be connect the each and every data point by the steps in fully reverse to the pre method, right? In this way you can represent your plot by using the step function as well. Now let me open the slides, and now let me move forward. Let me recap the session. Here I explained the importance of the data visualization, and after that I explained types of plots available, and I explained the difference between the different visualization libraries, and I explained basic plotting operations, right? This is all about the session, guys. Thank you everyone to spend a lot of time with me. I would like to meet you all once again in my next webinar with lots of interesting facts and information for your career.